Welcome back to another edition of TCM Graduate TV. I'm Kenton Sepsik, registered acupuncturist. This is viewer question number 8. I got a really great question in the comments on YouTube asking me, Kenton, what are your top 10 Chinese medicine books that you recommend? This is a super fun question to answer. Let's get into number 1. The first book that I recommend that is at the top of my list is A Manual of Acupuncture by Peter Deadman. This has 98% of all acupuncture points that you will use in the clinic. Of course, all the channels are in here. Setup, angling, depth, bunch of safety stuff is in here. If I were to have one negative comment is that I wish that Peter would have used the standard nomenclature for the extra acupuncture points and included all the extra acupuncture points. That's why I'm going to plug my workbook, but this is the reason why I'm plugging my workbook. That is why in my workbook I have the standard nomenclature and all extra acupuncture points in my workbook. However, this is the gold standard, in my humble opinion, for acupuncture. Second on my list is Foundations of Chinese Medicine by Maciocia. I have the first edition. It is very thin compared to the new edition. However, this book, I read it actually before I started Chinese Medicine College. If there are any students out there that are thinking about going to Chinese Medicine College, I highly recommend you buy this book and read it. And Chinese Medicine College will go so much smoother for you because you'll have a base knowledge. I always recommend for anybody about to attend Chinese Medicine College is take everything you know about Western medicine, put it in a box and put it over here because you're going to learn about heart blood deficiency, and no, that doesn't mean that somebody has a higher chance of having a heart attack. We need to take the Western language out of our brain, and this text right here teaches us the new language. Number 3 on my list is Diagnosis by Maciocia. When I first started out in clinic, this was and still is a very important text in my practice. I can look up an individual sign or symptom, such as I don't remember what all those ridges on the nails mean, and I can jump in here and find out that it's most commonly liver blood deficiency. This really helped me in clinic and still helps me to this day, diagnosing signs and symptoms that always crop up in the clinic. A phenomenal work, very thick, very good book. If you're into Chinese herbal medicine, this is the gold standard. This is Materia, Medica by Bensky. This is an amazing book. And of course, there is Formulas and Strategies, the companion to the Materia Medica, again by Bensky. These two texts are inseparable. These two texts are the gold standard, in my humble opinion, for Chinese medicine theory and as well Chinese herbal formulas. So those are 5 kind of key texts, the first 3 being acupuncture, the second 2 being herbal. I'm going to talk about some supplementary texts that I highly recommend for everyone. This is Chinese Pulse Diagnosis by Bob Flaws. This is an absolutely essential read. The secret of Chinese Pulse Diagnosis is to memorize the poems or the feel of what the pulses are going to be in clinic. And when we memorize kind of these pulse poems, as I call them, then you'll actually be able to feel them. And Bob's translation of these pulse poems is phenomenal. Finding Effective Acupuncture Points by Shudo Denmai. I really like this book because I'm a TCM style acupuncturist. I have my favorite acupuncture points. Shudo is a Japanese style acupuncturist and uses acupuncture points that I don't normally use, delves into certain acupuncture points that I use in a different way. So again, this is a very, very, very good book, and it gets me thinking outside the box. I highly recommend it. I really like this book. Daverick Leggett's book, Helping Ourselves, a Chinese energetic guide to food, is a staple in my clinic. It is my cheat sheet, my go-to. It's a very thin book, but as if you've seen my workbook's only 125 pages, 8.5 by 11. This is very concise. Don't let this thin size fool you and think that you're getting you're not getting a lot for your money, but you are. You're definitely getting a lot for your money. The charts in here and how he breaks down food energetics is very easy to understand. And if I have a patient with blood deficiency or even blood stagnation or yin deficiency, yang deficiency, whatever it is, dampness, I can jump in here, make some quick dietary recommendations for them. It is super effective and helpful in my clinic. Hicks and Hicks 5-Element Constitutional Acupuncture is a very, very good book. This is one I used a lot in my early years, and again, gets me thinking outside the box. I know I'm primarily a TCM style acupuncturist, but I really like to learn other methods and see if I can incorporate them into my practice. Sometimes I can't, but sometimes I can. One of the biggest takeaways from this book is the blocks to treatment. So the aggressive energy, I have written extensively on this in a blog post on my website, and the blocks to treatment, aggressive energy, internal, external dragons, very good information in here, helps me get over the humps in clinic. If I have a patient who's not responding to my treatment after first couple, I will definitely start working my way through the blocks to treatment. Also, 5-element constitutional acupuncture is such an interesting topic. It addresses a lot more of the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects than a typical TCM book. So this is definitely a fun one to get into, to get a little bit more language. I'm big on language when you're learning Chinese medicine, to get a little bit more language behind certain acupuncture points. Last but not least, and I've kind of saved it for last to give some emphasis to it, this is the Daodejing, translation by Jane English. This is an absolutely beautiful book. I haven't shown you the insides of any other books, but I'll definitely show you the inside of this one. So you've got the Chinese on one side, you've got the English translation, you've got these beautiful photos throughout this book. This is my favorite translation. I've read so many translations of the Daodejing. I'm a huge fan of Taoist thought, and I'm not pushing that on you, but I think that if we can learn a little bit about the way the ancients believed the universe was created and all these wonderful things that happen to us in life. So the Daodejing, then we have the Chuang-Tzu, we have the Lao-Tzu, and there's so many other amazing Taoist books out there. But this is very accessible. This is very non-denominational. This is very across the board. You can read this no matter what your personal beliefs are, and I think you'll get a lot from it. And I think that we can learn a lot. There's other amazing books out there. Of course, there's the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Chinese Medicine. There's the Shanghan Lun. There's the Ling Shu, the Daodejing. There's so many other great works out there. But to really understand the medicine, I think it's important to delve into some Taoism and some Buddhism to help us understand the thought processes behind what we do in the clinic. So there you have it, my top 10 books that I recommend for any acupuncturist, herbalist, Chinese medicine practitioner. If you have a favorite book, I implore you to post it in the comments. I would love to hear what your favorite book is. Might be one of mine, or if you want to add to my list. I'm sure everybody would get so much out of that conversation.